Hello everybody, it's Ox Bigley. I'm back in my retail rant spot, although I didn't want to take the time to edit the intro on it here. I know it's been a while since I did a retail rant, however, this is a little bit different because there's something I need to get off my chest. I've worked for the following companies in my life. First job I ever had, 3 days. Worked at a Miami Subs. This is a restaurant that's down here in South Florida. It sucks. The food's crap. I don't know how in the world some of them are still open, to be perfectly honest with you. But I had 3 days to work there. And apparently that was enough to learn everything. And because apparently I didn't do good within those 3 days, I was out. Okay? I worked at Winn-Dixie. That is from what I'm aware of, a nationwide chain. Okay, which is basically the Kmart of grocery stores. Okay, usually props up in low-income areas, and the inside usually is dirty. And at least the first store I worked at, it was remodeled, had everything new. It was fine, great in there. I came down here back to my hometown of Deerfield Beach, Florida, and there was literally almost a half inch of dirt caked up on the registers, to the point where I took a pen cap, was scraping it up, and the front end manager was like, "Oh, don't do that, the customers might see it." The fact that there's that equipment kept breaking all the time. Check readers were breaking. The card reader was breaking. Parts of the register weren't working properly. I have other issues I'll get into in a moment. So I worked at 2 Winn-Dixies. Then I went to Sears. Sears Roebuck and Company, probably one of the most American companies in the world, in this country. Came from the bottom up, 1800s with catalogs. And I unloaded trucks for them. I sorted their stockroom on multiple occasions. I started off at like $5. I got a 24-cent raise in 3 years. Doing a $9 an hour job. I left them. I went to Publix, where shopping is a pleasure, but working sucks anus. Now granted, I have anger issues. I have emotional problems. But that doesn't change the way things were run in that store. You had a store manager who was too busy sitting on top of Mount Olympus in his ivory tower to even know or care half the things that went on below him. Now me and that manager, as long as he was still over there after I was fired, yes, my fault, I will own that. Not proud of it, but I own my mistakes. Me and him didn't have an issue. But there were times I was trying to talk to him. I was in there shopping, and he asked me, "Are you on the clock?" I was trying to talk about work-related things. I said, "No." He goes, "When you come in next, we'll talk." I'm sorry, is your time of standing around, walking across the store, or sitting up in your office, your nice air-conditioned office, when half the time you cut off the AC to the break room of the employees to save $1 and get yourself a nice little bonus, or going to the one area of the office up there that had a big sign that says, "This is not a room, this is not a break room, do not eat your lunch here," sitting at that table right underneath that sign eating your lunch. Was I taking time away from that busy schedule of yours? Just curious. But to talk about things that needed to be talked about. I had a manager there where I worked in the grocery. I was stocking. I unloaded trucks and I stocked. I had to work peanut butter and jelly a lot of times. And to see, when I wasn't there, I don't have responsibility for what other people do. Obviously, the managers who are managing these people didn't want to take responsibility for that. So often what people will do, and thing for the manufacturers of jams, jellies, and other assorted things to put on toast, do everyone a favor and don't make 2 flavors let's say raspberry jam, one seedless, and put the word seedless and a freaking micro dot underneath the dang word there, and everything else on the label is exactly the same. Because you have morons who don't know how to pay attention or can't read or don't want to, stocking shelves and literally shoving product in there to where it spreads out in the back. And then someone like me who gives a crap has to come behind them, take items off the shelf, and put it in the back room, to which my manager says, why are you bringing more items back than you had out there? I'm like, because some dingaling put something in the wrong spot. And I took probably half an hour to fix that entire shelf to make it look the way it's supposed to. And then I get in trouble because I'm taking too long. I'm not getting the other stuff done because I'm actually working on this. To fix the problems that your other employees don't give a crap about and screwed up to begin with. So I was getting in trouble for that. I got put on a special little truck called, it was a short truck. I can't remember the name of it right now. Low velocity, it was called. These were items that were, I think they were normally products that vendors had brought in, or they were, for whatever reason, they decided to put it on a special truck because these were items that didn't sell all that well. So it was into his own designated truck. I guess it somehow made sense to waste more money bringing an extra truck. Now, the store that I worked at was a huge smegging store. 19 aisles, huge smegging store. And my managers wanted to come to me because I wasn't done before the end of it, because I took the time to actually separate everything by aisle onto L-cart floats in order to take out, instead of just loading up a cart full of random stuff throughout the entire store. And I actually attempted to get the people who work those aisles to do those items. Heaven forbid they work something on their own aisle. And I was getting in trouble because I was leaving and that low velocity truck wasn't done. My response is using logic and common sense, things that are evil and, wrong after the 50s apparently. It had been outlawed, Using logic and common sense, I'm like, well, we are a bigger store, therefore our trucks are larger. You know what their response was? That's irrelevant. Really? So you tell me a smaller store that is half or a third the size of ours, you're telling me they get the exact same amount of stuff coming in? I don't think so. It's bullcrap for one, okay? So I left from Sears. I moved because I had back issues. And I asked several times, I'm like, you know what? Because they've had issues running the front end and making sure there's enough people up there. I'm like, you know what? Teach me how to do this. I've done cashier before. I did carts at Winn-Dixie. I did cashiering at Winn-Dixie. Okay? I know this stuff. Let me get up there. If you guys need help, I'll do backup. So one time I came in there and I had an issue with my back, and I handed a note to the manager saying I can't lift over a certain amount. To which they kept putting me on soda and water. Water cases 6 gallons in one case. Not sure exactly how much that weighs. Don't care right now, but it was heavy. Okay? So they constantly wanted me to be on that. Among the low velocity trucks as well. I handed it to him. He looked at it, handed it back to me, which is not something they're supposed to do. They're supposed to keep that in their records, which they didn't have when I went to go tell them that I handed that in. And I'm like, you know what? Let me do something else. Their response is, because I wasn't finishing my workload before I had to leave, their response was, well, we don't want to reward you. Like, apparently rewarding somebody, that definition is to put someone where they could be a better use. This is the kind of screwed up logic that is there. And then I screwed up. I made a mistake. I mouthed off to a customer because I was allowing things to get to me. This is before I found out the personal problems that I have. I mouthed off. I had the weekend off. I came back on Monday. They called me to the office and said, we can't allow this. And I've had issues here and there with managers. I got suspended for a week one time, but then that was the end of it. And you know what? No harm, no foul to them. They did what was right, and I completely agree with that. I made a mistake. I screwed up. I was gone. And I was out of work for a couple of years there. Finally got a job at Toys R Us for one day. This is in like October. I went in there, did some training, came in the next day. I was there, basically standing there, wasting, I don't know what the heck I was there for. I had no idea what I was there for. A store that no longer exists. It was in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And no scheduled follow-up or whatever. And then I got a call from Walmart. I was almost going to say Walgreens there. Walmart. Never worked at Walgreens. Don't want to. And I called back and I'm like, you know what? I really want to stay at Toys R Us. I actually went down there. I'm like, look, I want to talk to the manager. I want to stay here. I want to work at Toys R Us. Okay? Probably one of my dream jobs. I want to work at Toys R Us, but I got this. This is closer to where I live. What do you want me to do? And they're like, oh, we'll give you a call. I'll talk to the manager. I'll give you a call. Heard bollocks until the week before Black Friday. The week of. And I get a phone call saying, oh, hey, we got your schedule. We want you to come in here and there. And I'm like, look, I already took this other job. I told you guys. I was trying to talk to you. And then they decided to put an ill mark on my file. I worked at Walmart unloading trucks. You had people who, I know what I'm about to say. It's going to sound rude, possibly even slightly racist, but you know what? Facts are facts. Call me what you want. I don't care. Facts are facts, and the observation of what I saw, first-hand experience, cannot be denied. You had people on that truck, half of them, English was not their first language. Okay? So communication, very minimal between each other. They were given simple instructions on how to unload that truck, and they never did it. Not once. We had pallets set up. We had to put rollers in the truck. Pallets were set up on either side for different departments. They were told, okay, this pallet and this pallet, these two departments, they're your responsibility. You, same thing, you, same thing, you, same thing. What do? They pick up an item, they're constantly walking past each other, crisscrossing and everything. It was ridiculous. It took twice as long half the time to get that truck unloaded than it should have done. I voiced these opinions. I voiced these facts to the management. These issues, issues of legitimate concern about wanting to get this stuff done better, and it fell on deaf ears because Walmart doesn't believe in unions. Granted, I think they have their place. I think they get misused. The misuse of them is what Walmart's afraid of, and possibly even the proper use of it. It's what a lot of companies in South Florida, Florida in general, because we are the right to get fired state. I'm sorry, right to work state. So that's what a lot of them are afraid of, is actually treating their employees with respect. I left there. Maybe about like 9 months later or something like that. I can't remember how long it was. I get a call from my current job. Toys R Us. Oh, you're talking about your current job on video, on the internet? You know what? I don't care. Okay? I don't care anymore. Because if they get angry and if they're afraid of the truth, they're the ones that's got an issue, not me. You know what? I can find another job. Okay? If they really want to get petty over this, so be it. Now, I worked at one store that's no longer existing because they didn't own the property, they leased it. The lease owners wanted to do what was better for them as far as business is concerned. They pushed a lot of people out. They put a new business in. I have no fault to them. They got to do what they think is best for business, whatever. So I transferred to a new store. Our wonderful store manager at the time wanted to treat everybody that came from the Boca store as if they were stupid. As if they had never done the work before in their entire life. Pretty much like how most employees treat the manager that you hired. You companies hire fresh out of business school that has bugger all as far as actual on-the-job experience. He pretty much treated us like that. Like we were stupid. We didn't know anything. We didn't know what we were doing. Granted, things are different from store to store, manager to manager. That's obvious. There's a learning curve that has to be adapted to. That's obvious. But don't treat us like we're stupid. Because 9 times out of 10, we know exactly what needs to be done. We just don't know how you specifically want something done. But to give attitude like that, this guy's no longer here. He got promoted. Because see, that's what happens with bad managers. Or managers treat people badly. They promote them. Because that makes sense. We had one guy I worked with become the store manager. Did a pretty good job as far as I could tell. He was actually promised a store. Then all of a sudden, they hire some little turd who came from a background of running a store in a mall. And they made him the store manager here. Since then, we've had issues with the scheduling to where 90% of the time we only have a skeleton crew running the place. And then I cannot do my responsibility in my job because I got to constantly come up and run a register because, heaven forbid, we have enough people there to do the job. And then, by the way, we are a split store. We are a Toys R Us, Babies R Us. And then the person that's in Babies, who, even before this person took over, was lazy. Constantly called everybody under the sun to come over to get something off the top shelf, and they can very easily do that themselves. But either didn't want to or was unwilling. You know what? I'll even give the benefit of the doubt. If they have a medical issue that they can't lift up something like that or can't do it, say something. I got a bad back. You hear me complaining? No. If something needs to be done, I get it done. Okay? It's not debilitating, my problem. I'm sure theirs isn't either. Because if that was the case, they wouldn't even be coming in to do work. There should be 2 people in that department all the time, by the way. But that's besides the point. They never come up. You call this particular person that's over there, that works over there like all the time, is almost a manager. Has codes and everything, so whatever. They never keep their walkie on them. We always have walkies on us because, hey, maybe someone actually needs help in the store and you need to be responsive to it. No, they don't keep it with them. They put it over on the desk and they walk away from it. Because that makes sense and that's helpful. Plenty of times I've confronted the person about it, and of course I fall on deaf ears. Why? Because I'm a white guy, probably. I can guarantee that's the reason. I'm not a manager, so it doesn't matter. That's not something I found out. If you're white and actually know how to do your job, you will be you're anything you say will be fall on deaf ears, especially the people you're talking to are not white, because that they have that racial blindness to where, oh, you're a white guy that actually knows what he's talking about and you're telling me what to do. Screw you. Doesn't matter if you're right or not. You're a honky, screw you. And that's the attitude. I get it. So now we're skeleton crew 90% of the time. Our break room AC is turned off. Gee, I wonder why that's happening. Half the time the lights are not on all through the store. And half the time the price scanners aren't working. Which is a very simple thing to do. You just unplug it and plug it back in. Boom, it's working. Very simple. But this is an open letter. I know I didn't mention at the beginning. It's going to be in the description. It's an open letter to every retail establishment ever. All the CEOs who I know probably will never watch this. Probably little crony watchdogs who sit in a nice air-conditioned cubicle at headquarters are probably going to see this and then take action. But to the CEOs, I have to ask you one question. Why is it you try to pride yourselves on helping your guests, being there? The Publix is always there for its own. Bullcrap. Anytime I need help, screw you. Oh, but we're doing fundraising for this charity. Are you gonna have my manager kind of badger me about wanting to donate? But we're not going to give you hours. We're not going to give you help in an area or department, whatever. Screw you. Okay. We're going to take the manager's side over yours all the time, regardless of what the facts are, because they're a manager and you're not. And that goes across the board, every company, every retail company in existence, as far as I can tell. I would say 99.9% of retail businesses. My question is to you, why do you seek to run your company like a totalitarian communist country? Now, let's take a look at communist countries. Let's just look at China. And now see, communism looks good on paper. Help everybody out, everything's equally distributed. Hey, looks great on paper. But let's look at how it's actually put in practice. All the people on top stay rich, and they throw like little breadcrumbs at everybody else. So everybody down there is equal, but everybody up there isn't. On paper, they both are equal. But no, in practice, the rich stay rich and screw over the little guy. The people actually matter. Now see, in companies, one thing I've noticed is that the people who are in the stores, you want to protect that image of the store, but yet you don't care about that image of the store. It's almost a paradox, because if you cared about the image of the store and everything store level, you would give us enough people to do the job that needs to be done. You would repair things in the store that need to be fixed. I have had several registers at Toys R Us I work at now where it doesn't print properly. It's that stupid heat paper. And the barcodes don't print properly. And of course, if I have some intelligent person that wants to yell at me for not asking them if they want a gift receipt because they forgot to ask for one in the beginning, I have to try to scan that barcode to print out a gift receipt, and it won't print, it won't scan because the printer's screwed up. We have scanners and printers to do store labels or look up items in our database for the store stock that are outdated, that I can guarantee are at least 2 decades old. The walkies we have, some idiot keeps breaking the buttons off of them, so if you don't have an earpiece, you can't use it. And some idiot even further breaks off the clip, so you can't actually clip it to your belt. Beyond that, about a third of our walkies don't work anymore because you use them and you get nothing but static. Doesn't matter what channel you're on, that walkie's not going to work. Coupled with the fact that our roof keeps leaking, multi-billion-dollar company can't fix a couple of leaks in a roof, really? Oh! and then they just implemented this new thing. Let's talk about metrics, shall we? At Toys R Us, we got 3 metrics, so we always have to worry about. And other places, you got to get your donations for your charities. It's fine, I get that. You got to sell your stupid Santa bucks or your bunny bucks every holiday. When those come up, if you don't, then you're gonna get. But who cares? You know what? You're not gonna get anything from that. So what the heck does it matter to you? No, but you know who gets something for it? Store manager, the district manager, and then his boss. They get bonuses. But you know what? When it comes to you, the person actually does the work. Screw you. Well, let me show you something here. This is the reward system that they have now. We have three metrics we have to worry about at Toys R Us now. We have square trades, which are basically, it's very good, mind you. It's legit, it's not crap. Protection plans for items, 2 years. They're really good, easy to deal with. I got no problem with that. Loyalty cards, the rewards points, which by the way is at least a decade behind as far as how it's implemented, because in order for anybody, if you get points, you earn coupons, cashback, whatever. But the point is, in order to even pull it up, we can't just scan their card and be able to use it right there from the machine, because that would be easy and convenient, heaven forbid. But they have to go online or go to a kiosk, which half the time doesn't work, and is all the way on the other side of the store for, logic and reasoning. And then the other one, of course, is the ever-loving retail credit card. Oh, they love pushing that so hard. It's got handprints on it because they love to push it so hard. And, all the time, up until just a month ago, all the benefits and rewards for that all went to the management. We got little dollar store trinkets that if you got an IC, an instant credit. You get a little dollar store trinket. I'm sure they spent like a lot of money shipping to the millions of stores that they got worldwide. They spent all that money to do that instead of actually redirecting it to putting it to the employees who actually do the work. But you know what? They started giving us incentives. And you know what? They are not wasting a single dollar here, because let me show you this. This is my incentive check. It's a separate check, not added to my regular paycheck, because again, that would make sense. This is bank drawn up. Look how much I got as a bonus for selling instant credits. Holy crap, they're going to go bankrupt. Why do you insist, companies, why do you insist on treating your employees the first line of defense, the thing that the customers have in their mind? What you do up at corporate, they don't have that in mind. Up in your ivory towers, sitting up on top of Mount Olympus, not giving a crap about what happens with the peasants. You know, we can't, when you cut hours so that way you can keep your bonuses and keep your quality of lifestyle, we're scraping by to make the cost of freaking living because corporate communism. So I just want to know why you feel that this is good for business when you constantly have a turnover of people coming in and out of your store, instead of having people who know the store and have a good rapport with the guests. Instead of, treating them nice and actually wanting them to stay there, you treat them like a friggin' tissue. Every company does this. You treat your lower people, the entry-level people, like freaking tissues. Once they're used up, you can leave them and it wouldn't matter to you one smegging bit. You treat us like we're less than human, okay? You treat the customers who come in and give you money a heck of a lot better than you treat the people who have to take that money from the customers and actually try to make the people who are there to make their shopping experience a good one. You treat those people who are there to shop better than you do your own employees. You know what Christmas bonus I got this year? Bollocks. You know what I've never gotten since I worked at this store right now? Since I worked at this company, I've never gotten a raise over in 2 digits. I'm talking about after the decimal point. I've never gotten a raise in 2 digits. I've never gotten a 50-cent raise. Heck, I've never even gotten a friggin' dollar raise. Which I probably should have done. Because you know what? Why do I consider Toys R Us a dream job? Because that's something I'm interested in. Ever since I was a kid, collected toys. Heck, I got stuff behind me here. I got stuff scattered all over my room and my wall here. Okay? I like toys. I'm a collector, yes, but that shouldn't be a detriment. I'm fascinated with these things. Plenty of times I'll go up and down the aisle, and I call it product testing. I like to actually kind of see what these toys do. And you know what? That's not only something for my own personal satisfaction and, whatever, but you know what? If someone comes in there looking for a toy, I can actually sell that product to them because I know it. These things fascinate me. I'm interested in this stuff, so I can actually properly sell this stuff. That's like if you get... It's like if you get someone who worked in a clothing store their entire life and you put them in electronics or in Best Buy and you have them try to sell things. They have to learn it first, and then the entire time, they suck, okay? Point of the matter is, with with constantly cutting hours, and I can guarantee hours are getting cut, and that AC in the break room is still staying off, so someone can get a nice little bonus. Because if you save money from payroll, you get a chunk of that. Because screw everybody who's trying to make a living and scrape by. Screw them. Every single screw and bolt in the hardware store, hand delivered to your door. I don't understand this. I never will. This is an open letter. If you have the courage and the balls, CEOs, to actually respond to this, I will be incredibly surprised. And if I have a job at the end of 2 weeks of this video being up, I'll be very surprised too. So the point of the matter is, you know what? If you're going to treat your employees like the lower rung citizens of a communist country, start flying that red and yellow flag above every one of your businesses. Be honest. Okay? Because obviously, you sit up in your office and who knows what this make you do. But, you guys in the office, you can take a day off, half a day, whatever. Doesn't matter. Because your kid's got soccer practice or, you got to go make a boat payment or whatever. But, us down here, we're sick. We got to show up to work. Because we're freaking wage slaves. Okay? I often wonder sometimes if actual historical slaves had it better off because they had free room and board and they got fed. And I'm pretty sure they got treated with a heck of a lot more respect. Granted, that's a far stretch, and I can probably guarantee that analogy falls apart before it even gets up and starts walking. But you know what? Sometimes those of us who are in the lower rung, we kind of get treated like slaves because we're expected to do way more than we're ever supposed to. We have job descriptions. But you know what that means? It means that it's just for the books. Because you know what? If someone called in sick, it's your responsibility. Oh, and you know what? If you're an actual good employee and know how to do your job and you're actually responsible, we're going to punish you by giving the lazy person's job to you to do. Because logic and common sense. Sometimes I wish I was stupid and lazy and dumb, so that way I can get away with actually doing bugger all and get paid for it. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate from people who probably never worked a day in their life in retail, or those who are on the upper rung who think I'm wrong because they actually have lower rung experience because they went straight out of business school and got hired in a higher rung. I just want an answer. I know I'll never get one. I know for a fact if I try to go up the chain of command, that the open door policy, which of course, we're only going to open that door if you have the right combination. If you know the secret password. Right? If not, we'll just slide that little eye hole door open and go, what do you want? Oh, that's nice. Close it back. Because I can guarantee if I try to crawl up the chain and talk to the CEO, first of all, I'll never make it, for one. Number two, I'll get shut down. And number three, I might actually get fired because I have a bad attitude. Trying to point out the problems in the store and try to point out the problems in the company and try to point out the ways that you can actually make the store and company better and flourish. Because you know what? You have happy employees. You don't have people walking around that hate the customers half as much. Because you know what? They're in a good mood. Because they know their company's got their back. We're supposed to have your back 24/7 regardless, unconditionally. But anytime that we ask you to stand up for us, we're screwed. Because it's all about keeping that money in your pocket. And you know what? You guys can miss a couple of $1 million, I can bet, up on the higher rungs there. And you wouldn't miss it. But us, we miss a day of work, or you tell us to call out, or you cut our hours in half for the week. Look, I get paid every 2 weeks, and you know what? I get paid every 2 weeks what 90% of other people get paid in 1 week. So explain the logic to me. Explain the reasoning, other than you're a greedy bastard. Explain it to me. Because I want to know. And you know what? I'm not the only one. I'm the voice of the silent majority, okay? I'm not the squeaky cog, okay? I'm the one who's squeaking louder because everybody else is too afraid to squeak. Because they don't want, because they're afraid of you. Am I afraid of you? Am I afraid of getting retribution and getting called out or whatever? Because I'm speaking the truth, heaven forbid. Sure. But do I think in the end it matters? No, because in the end, you're wrong. And you don't have the guts, you don't have the intestinal fortitude to stand up and admit it and do what needs to be done to fix it. And that's why you are a friggin' totalitarian communist dictator. Every single one of you CEOs, and you know it. But you don't have the courage and the balls to stand up and admit it and try to change it. Because you don't care. Because you know what? Apparently, somehow, making your store level employees happy and actually, you know what, giving them health care and giving them benefits instead of locking it behind the completely unobtainable full-time position. Instead of doing that and actually just, making it accessible to everybody, instead of doing that, you'd rather be greedy and hold all that money to yourself. Because you need your mansion, you need your 10-room house, you need your boat payments, you need your cable TVs, and you need your 400 iPads for your kids. You need to buy little Jimmy a brand new BMW as soon as he graduates high school because you're rich. And you want to stay rich. But you know what? If you actually do what's right, you're still going to be rich. In fact, actually, you know what? You're going to have every single person in store level behind your back the way you want them to be. If you just do what's right. You won't. You don't care. I'm just tired of it. It needs to be addressed. I'm addressing it. I know you won't because you don't have the guts to do it. I'm waiting for a response. I doubt I'll get one. But I'll take your complete and utter stone cold silence as proof that I'm right.